welcome to the Prep Zone. My name is Grant Yenny, and tonight we're here at Sid Terrio Stadium as the St. Paul's Wolves travel to take on the Mandeville High Skippers. This is a big rivalry matchup, so let's bring in our color analyst, Coach Jimmy Inman. Coach, let's start with St. Paul's. What do we know about them?
Wealth of talent. I mean, they've got the guys that can do the job on the offensive side of the ball for sure. You've got McDowell, you've got Williamson, Grosh, and let's not leave out Mashburn. So they really can get the job done on that side of the ball.
And the home team, the Mandeville Skippers, what do we know about them coming into tonight?
Tonight's about Wallace and Jones. If they can get a running game established and keep that potent St. Paul offense on the sideline, that's going to be plan number one.
Well, thank you, Coach. I spoke with both coaches moments ago. Let's hear what they had to say and get to the action. Pregame with Coach Buell. Coach, last time we saw your team was that big win against North Shore. How has your team improved since then, and what are you looking for out of them tonight?
I think we just got a lot of confidence. You know, the kids are playing much better. They believe in themselves. You know, and for tonight, really, you know, it's kind of the same formula as it was against North Shore. It's going to take all three phases, cut down their turnovers, win the turnover battle, and have a great special teams night.
North Shore was an important game, but tonight is a big rivalry game. You know, I'm sure the players have been thinking about this game all season. How do you keep them focused going into a game like this tonight?
Well, I think they know what's at stake. You know, they know where we sit kind of as a team right now with the playoffs and everything moving forward. And, you know, anytime you play a rival, you know, they're focused, they're ready. So hopefully it'll be a good game, keep everybody safe, and see what happens at the end of the night.
What's it going to take to beat a team like St. Paul's? They have a lot of firepower on both sides of the ball.
Total team effort. You know, again, the formula doesn't change. Win the turnover battle, play good on special teams, cut down on mental mistakes, gang tackle defensively, don't give up any big plays, sustain drives offensively.
Pregame with Coach Sears. Coach, it's our first time seeing you in the Prep Zone this season. Can you give us a rundown on how your season's been going?
Well, hey, we started off slow, played a tough pre-district schedule, took a bunch of injuries early, but our guys battled through it, you know, and overcame adversity. So we've been up and down, but I feel like we're starting to get some things together, got some guys back towards the tail end of the season.
Mandeville has some firepower on offense. What's it going to take to stop them and come out of Sid Terrio Stadium tonight with a W?
Well, we got to play great defense. We got to get a couple of turnovers. You know, they can move the ball and they can score. You know, they've always been a team that flies around on defense, so we're going to have to limit our turnovers. You know, this is always a good football game, so we're just going to have to play good ball, and usually the team that makes the least mistakes is the team that wins.
St. Paul's at Mandeville. Jack Benaldi to kick off for the Wolves. This one back will be returned by the Skippers. That's number 2, Devin Sieber, still on his feet, and he'll be dragged down after crossing the 20-yard line by number 22, Carter Ely.
And it's time for Mandeville to set up shop. And we mentioned this before the game. Get a drive going, eat up some clock, try to hit some pay dirt there at the end. Anything to keep St. Paul's potent offense on the sideline. If they can get some points in the process, all to the good.
So we'll get a look here. Quarterback Darren Steele into the game. He's a playmaker. We saw him against North Shore. In the backfield with him is Charles Quinn, the running back. Steele goes hard count to start it. Mandeville has 2 to the right, 1 to the left.
I tell you, there's a lot of space to Steele's left.
So Steele calls for it. They hand off. Quinn coming left side, has a hole, hits it hard, and he will gain the first down and then some before being brought down by Logan Davenport.
You could see that, you know, St. Paul's was, I don't want to say they were spying Steele, but they definitely were aware of him, and they had some space on the left-hand side for that side of the hash mark. Worked out nicely.
Check that. That was Conrad Robinson as Steele gets the handoff to the right, and he'll gain a good 5 yards on the carry there.
Offensive line getting some push, and they're definitely chewing up some yardage here.
So that'll bring up second and 6 for the Skippers as they're going very up-tempo here early. We have Teron Jones to the right, along with Roland Wallace. Wallace, 24 receptions, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns on the season. Steele calls for it, takes it himself, running up the middle. He's met and dropped.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened right there. It may have been a little misstep between the running back and Steele. Steele did his best to get some positive yardage out of that. may have picked up 1 yard.
On the tackle was Paul Gremion, the 6'1", 205-pound senior.
And he's got 65 tackles on the year, so he's had a busy year.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 6 for the Skippers. Calling for it, steal, play action, looking to pass, now rolling to the right, lofts it out, it's complete. But a big hit from number 4, Robert Bukwa.
And it's going to be short, and it's going to be decision time. They're near midfield. Mandeville may elect to go for it here, but it would be a gutsy call, I got to say, this early.
Yeah, punt unit comes on as Christopher Nicholas trots out onto the field. Nicholas, a sophomore for the Skippers. Back deep is Grant Grosh for the Wolves.
Grosh has some big play capabilities as well. 6 touchdowns, 588 yards on the season in terms of receptions.
Snap is back, it's high. Booted away, this won't get to Grosh. St. Paul's, wow, that was dangerous as the ball came very close to hitting Carter Ely on the shoulder pad, but it rolls away and it's down by the freshman, Odin Pierce, the long snapper.
Yeah, it ended up being a nice punt. Took a good Mandeville bounce. Probably got another 10, 15 yards out of the roll there, so nicely done.
So now we'll see the very potent St. Paul's offense. Jonte McDowell leads this one, along with running back Clay Williamson.
Mandeville's going to have to be sound in their defensive assignments here. St. Paul's is potent, as you said.
They goes right side, and gang tackled down was Cameron Vidal, brought down over there by a host of Skippers, including Nick Jones.
It looks like a good gain. 6 yards is going to bring up 2nd and 4. So the playbook's pretty wide open at this point. We might see McDowell kind of wing it right here.
McDowell in the gun, Williamson behind him. Snap, they hand off. Williamson has a hole, but he's upended after a short gain by number 33. That's Kurt Bartholomew, the 5'6", 182-pound sophomore linebacker. Upending Corey Williamson, a big dude, 5'11", 225. Shows, you know, the old cliche, not the size of the dog in the fight, the size of the fight in the dog.
That's right. And I tell you what, he stuck his nose in there, and it was a tough a moment where he illustrated his toughness.
So McDowell, motion from Mashburn, and false start on the right tackle. So that'll back up the Wolves here on 3rd down.
And I tell you what, Mandeville's defensive line did an excellent job of making sure that call was made. They immediately jumped. It's one of those, every blue moon you'll actually see encroachment called there, but they did an excellent job.
So here's McDowell in the gun on 3rd down. They try the hard count. Also, I need to say I misspoke earlier. I said Clay Williamson. It's Corey Williamson. I did go to school with a Clay Williamson in high school, though. 8:05 on the clock here in the first. Calling for it is McDowell, looking to pass downfield. Pressure coming. Launches this one away, and it's picked off by Ben Bonner. Oh, but it's on the ground. Did he drop it? And let's see. Yeah, they say it is. The interception stands.
Okay, basically the ground did not cause the fumble there. He hit the ground and he was down at that point.
Yes.
So Mandeville's going to pick up some excellent field position on a great play right there.
Yeah, skipper ball, a big play from Ben Bonner. We saw he had that big interception against the Panthers when we did the Mandeville North Shore game.
Yes, he did. Good pressure, too, by Mandeville's defensive line.
And quickly back out onto the field, the Mandeville offense. Steele, 2 backs in the backfield. He'll hand off to Jones, coming right side, looking to cut upfield, has a hole, and slips down before the tacklers could get a hold of him.
It was a nice cut, too, prior to the slip. I tell you, he read that beautifully. Looked like initially he was going to roll outside, but it opened up a little bit on the inside, made a nice cut. 5 yards later, they're setting up shop, 2nd and 5.
And Skipper's awaiting the play call from the sideline. Looks like they're going trips to the left. will be at the bottom of your screen. Charles Quinn in the backfield with Steele. Steele calls for it. Play action. Screen out to Jones. It was red, but tackler fell off, and after a gain of 2, Jones was brought down by a host of Wolves.
Yeah,
good job getting away from that initial tackler.
Yes, it looked like number 5, Conrad Robinson, diagnosed that beautifully. But just like earlier when Jones went to make the cut and slipped on the turf, same thing looked like that happened right there to Mr. Robinson, because he did an excellent job of diagnosis. He just wasn't able to make the tackle.
3rd and 4 for the Skippers. Steele hands off Quinn, looking to cut it up, has a hole, still barreling forward through defenders, and he laid a big hit on the first tackler, kept going, gained the extra yards, and that'll be a first down for the Skippers.
I tell you what, once he got the momentum, it wasn't going to be one of those where he's met in a hole and immediately stopped. He just kept churning, and Quinn did an excellent job right there of imposing his will on that play.
1st and 10 for the Skippers from the 19-yard line. Steele, handoff to Quinn, looking for a hole, cuts to the left, and he'll gain about 5 on the carry.
He's carried the workload this evening, and why not? He's eating up 5 yards at a pop. Feed the man the rock.
Yeah, 2nd and 5. Skippers at the 15, or just inside the 15. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Steele calling for it. Give to Quinn again. Feed him the rock. Hits the hole hard, and he'll get inside the 5. And he's still pushing forward. The toughness of the junior Charles Quinn.
And I tell you, you got to give Mandeville's offensive line some credit here. They're creating holes. He's hitting the holes with quickness. I mean, he's shot out of a cannon right there, finding the hole. But the hole's there. So they're doing their job, and as long as they're doing their job, he's able to take advantage. It's kind of putting St. Paul's linebackers in a real tough position because, you know, they don't know exactly where he's going to be rolling through, but he's got the momentum when he does.
1st and goal at the 5. They go Quinn again, and he slips down in the backfield.
That was an excellent job by St. Paul. They diagnosed it well. And, you know, Quinn on a dry field would have tried to obviously cut right there, but I'm not sure why the guys are slipping out there, but they are. Might be a heavy dew on the field for all we can tell at this point.
So 2nd and goal, ball back at the 10-yard line as the play signaled in from Andrew Brister and Christian Failer, the 2 reserve quarterbacks. Steele rolling right, looking to pass, launches downfield,
It's going
caught,
to be a touchdown.
Touchdown, Teron Jones.
I tell you what, the rollout, beautifully designed by Mandeville, puts Steele in a position to where he can beat you 2 ways. He can actually beat you with your feet because he's quite an athlete. But man, what a beautiful throw on the run right there.
So Mandeville strikes first, and you know we talk about this being a rivalry game. Those records that we talk about before the game, toss them out when it comes to a game like this.
Yes, and I tell you what, with Steele at quarterback, they can be just about anybody. He's a special player. Earlier this year, we watched them beat North Shore. North Shore's quality.
Caden Costa on to attempt the extra point. Costa, a freshman. Snap, placement, kick is up, and it is good. So with 4:45 remaining here in the first quarter, the Mandeville Skippers lead 7-0. After the Teron Jones touchdown, Nicholas to kick off for the Skippers. Back deep are Grosh and Vidal. He boots this one deep, and that will go into the end zone and out the back of it for a touchback. What a weapon to have. He's only a sophomore.
And I tell you what, there's not a whole lot of wind here. It's not like he was kicking with a breeze behind his back. He just put a charge into that ball.
So last year they had Joe Bulovas kicking. He would do the same thing, put it in the end zone. He now plays for the University of Alabama. But they haven't missed a beat. They just, next man up, they get another kicker who can boot it through the end zone.
Yes, indeed, and that is quite a weapon, as you said.
So 1st and 10 for McDowell and company. Last drive ended in a Ben Bonner interception for the Skippers. McDowell, motion, and we have a flag down. And a false start, another false start on the St. Paul's offense.
You could see the Mandeville defensive lineman immediately pointing, and you could see the St. Paul, I believe it was their tackle on the right-hand side. He knew it as soon as it happened. So,
my old offensive line coaches, Coach Tony Hull and Coach Jim Dombrowski, used to say, the only advantage that you have is that you know the count.
That's right. You know when to go.
But kudos to the Mandeville defensive line for holding discipline. First down, handoff goes to Williamson, hits the hole hard, and he's bottled up by a host of skippers, dragged down by number 95, Kevin Ludwigson.
I tell you, Connor Rich, number 44, hit him in the hole and didn't allow him to get some momentum. Because if he gets through that hole with a little bit of momentum, he is going to be tough to bring down. But give Connor Rich some credit. He was in there and slowed the momentum, and his teammates cleaned it up.
Check that. That was Brent Selfo. 2nd and 11. McDowell calling for it, and looks like he'll take off himself, and he'll slide down. Brought down by Selfo once again, along with Connor Riche, who was there pressuring, and caused him to slide.
Yeah, Riche, he was there to make sure to limit the gain, so to speak, and it allowed Selfo to make the tackle from behind. So
3rd and 7 for the Wolves, looking for a better drive than the last one. McDowell looking to pass over the middle and in and out of the hands of Nick Stanton.
Yeah, and I tell you, that was going to be well short unless he caught him with the perfect pass going across the middle. Again, Stanton looked like he actually slipped right there. So, we were down on the field earlier, and I really didn't notice it to be a problem.
No.
But you know what? We're in street shoes, not in cleats. So, who knows if it's making a difference? It seems to be for sure.
So the St. Paul's punting unit comes on. Teron Jones is back to return for the Skippers, along with Bonner. This punt is away, a high. That's a good punt.
Yes, it is.
Teron catches it. He'll return this one, and Teron Jones slips down. So, yeah, we keep talking about this. Maybe we'll go down there at halftime, but it didn't seem as slick.
Well, we'll have to ask Red Sharp on the sideline to scope it out for us because I tell you, there has been a lot of misplaced steps out there. And again, it's surprising because we were out there and I just didn't have a sense of it.
So last time the Skipper offense was on the field, it ended in pay dirt. Teron Jones was found in the end zone by Darren Steele.
And Mandeville did exactly what we said they need to do. They nice sustained drive, ate up some clock.
Snap is back. They go handoff left side. Teron Jones, a lead blocker for Quinn. Barreling through defenders. Some good blocks there, but also creating his own holes, pounding through defenders.
I tell you what, Quinn did an excellent job there. That play looked like it was designed to go outside. St. Paul actually did a very good job of stretching the play all the way out towards the sideline, and Quinn just put on the brakes and immediately made a hard right turn and went upfield.
So that'll bring up 2nd and 3 for the Skipper. Steele calling for it. This time hands off. Jones has a huge hole. Hits it hard. Running through defenders. Downfield trying to make a cut. Cuts outside to the right. 10, 5, touchdown.
He's in.
Teron Jones, what a play.
That is huge. He had jets on right there.
A 60-yard run.
Just took off 60 yards. And I tell you what, if there's a 60-yard dash, he's winning that puppy right there because he was shot out of a cannon.
You saw running past defenders. It looked like they were standing in cement.
Yeah, and again, he had the momentum, and once he hit it and hit that second gear, and you could tell he hit the second gear. Then he read his blocks beautifully and was able to make the most of it as he found the pylon in the corner.
So 13-0, awaiting the extra point from the freshman, Caden Costa. The snapper, also a freshman, Odin Pierce. Snap back, kick is up, and it is good. So with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, the Mandeville High Skippers lead 14-0. Nicholas on to kick it away after Teron Jones' second touchdown of the night. And Nicholas, once again, par for the course, sends this one out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah, it takes some big play capability away from St. Paul. They have the talent back there to do a lot with it once they receive it, but it's not having it's a moot point with a kick like that.
So we'll see McDowell and company had to punt it away on their last drive. So we'll see any adjustments. They go kind of a tight set, but two receivers, twins to the left. McDowell goes hard count. Kudos once again to that Mandeville defensive line holding discipline, but this time no false start from St. Paul's. Ball at the 20. They'll go keeper McDowell, and it'll be snuffed out almost immediately. He's brought down by Jacob Morgan and Connor Riche.
Yeah, they were in the backfield, and I tell you what, perfect job in terms of form tackling. It's one of those things where they read it beautifully, diagnosed it in the backfield, and they did their job. Coaches will be very happy when they see that on game film.
The base spread formation, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. Williamson in the backfield with McDowell. McDowell calling for it, looking to pass. Downfield pass complete to Vidal. Vidal coming near sideline, pushes the defender down, but he's dragged out of bounds over here on the near sideline. Defending there was Nick Jones, a 5'10", 150-pound senior for the Skippers.
Yeah, I tell you, Vidal did a good job of putting a stiff arm out, but Jones, he did his job as well. I mean, he basically made sure that Vidal was not going to get past him.
3rd and 4 for the Wolves. Last time on 3rd down, they tried to pass over the middle to Stanton. Let's see here, play action, looking to pass once again. McDowell squares up, pass complete for a 1st down. The pass is completed to Cooper Mybaum.
And I tell you, McDowell did a good job right there. They rolled him into open space. Still a tough throw. You're going across your body, so to speak. And, you know, if you can make sure your footwork's right, you can get that throw off, and he did a good job with it.
It's Mybaum's 3rd reception of the season, but he's an explosive play guy as he averages 22 yards a reception when he catches it. So McDowell motion across Nick Stanton, handoff Corey Williamson, and he's hit right at the line. It rocked him back, and then a host of Skippers brought him down, but initial hit, Connor Riche.
Well, I tell you, they diagnosed it beautifully, the Mandeville defensive line. And the other person was Mr. Malcolm Johnson. You may recognize that name. I think he may have been the one that made the initial contact.
The one to rock Williamson.
Yes, and kind of makes sense given his ability.
Snap. They go handoff. Williamson going left side, and he'll be brought down by a host of Skippers. Initial contact by Joshua Giacconi, another senior on this defense for the Skippers.
Well, I tell you, it's their last home game. The seniors are stepping up. Again, that's got to be tough when you're sitting there watching Williamson go around that end, knowing full good and well you're the first line of defense, but Giacconi stepped up and did an excellent job.
So 3rd and 5 for the Wolves. And the hard count doesn't work. They're going trips to the right. As a new play signaled in from the sideline. They're going to need to get this play off as the clock winds down. 13 seconds on the game clock. Here's McDowell passing, and it's broken up by Ben Bonner. Intended for Logan Davenport.
And I tell you what, Malcolm Johnson was in the backfield and applying immediate pressure, which is one of the reasons that you saw McDowell have to get rid of it a little quicker than he probably wanted to.
On the punt, Cameron Clooney for the Wolves, and Bonner and Jones back deep to return. Snap is high. We'll punt it away, and Jones will try to return this one, and he's dragged down at the 5-yard line, and the clock is stopped with 0.2 of a second on it. Here in the first quarter. But back to Malcolm Johnson for a second. He's fielding offers from a good number of FCS schools. I would expect to see that go up by the end of this season. But fielding offers notably from Stephen F. Austin and Southeastern. As of right now, he's committed to Stephen F. Austin.
Well, I tell you what, with Southeastern winning like they are, and it's all offense right now, they need some defense on the side of the ball up there. Boy, would he be a great acquisition.
So 1st and 10 with the Skippers at the 8.
And this looks like run all the way.
Yeah, they hand off Jones going right side as the buzzer sounds. Jones still on his feet, and he'll be brought down after a gain of 3 by a host of St. Paul's defenders over there, and that will end the first quarter as the Skippers lead 14-0 at home on senior night.
St. Tammany Parish Public Schools, an A-rated school district. Graduates with the highest ACT scores in the state. Facilities with the latest technology. Safe and secure schools. A variety of sports. Fine arts. And learning to last a lifetime.
I'm Superintendent Trey Foles, and this is where we educate every child, every day.
So to start the second quarter, Steele in the gun, ball is at the 9. Handoff goes to Quinn, and he's barreling through. Good push from that offensive line and the fight from Charles Quinn to continue pushing forward after initial contact. That's another first down for the junior running back.
I mean, they're just blowing guys off the ball. It's a great night for them when you're looking. You got Kurt Vorhoff and Bryce Kavanaugh just paving the way among others.
Yeah, and Kurt Vorhoff and and the ball's on the ground. It was kicked, and it appears that the Wolves have it right now. Awaiting the official call. St. Paul's is pretty sure they have it. And they do.
They do.
They signal first down for the Wolves, so that's a big break for them. They're getting it deep in Skipper territory.
I tell you what, if you're St. Paul, you can't ask for better than that. Defense goes out, gets a turnover, puts your offense in great field position, the best field position of the night in all actuality.
So we'll see McDowell and company looking to get on the board here in the second quarter, 11:41 to go. What I was going to say prior to the fumble there, while we have some time as the teams come onto the field, but Vorhoff and Kavanaugh have both been playing since they were sophomores.
Wow.
So very veteran presence on the offensive line. Here's a motion across. They pitch to Mashburn. Mashburn taking it left side, hits the hole hard, still barreling forward. He's a big presence. He's brought down over on the sideline there by Giacconi.
Yeah, I tell you what, he was definitely bringing the lick with him because he wasn't backing down from contact right there, I can promise you.
Mashburn's 6'5", 190. He's the backup quarterback, and it's a blessing for the St. Paul's team to have Jonte McDowell and Jack Mashburn. But they needed Mashburn to play somewhere because he's too good of an athlete to have on the bench, so they put him out at receiver, and he's been doing a stellar job. Toss goes to Williamson, right side, has a big hole, and he will score. Well, he may be a yard short.
But
yeah.
I tell you,
but that was a big hole.
I tell you, that hole was created by Mashburn right there. When he came, he was actually put out wide, and he came back in and sealed the defensive end right there and created an absolutely huge hole.
So it's second and goal at the 1. McDowell calling for it. He'll sneak this one, and he will squirt into the end zone for the touchdown.
St. Paul's offensive line did a great job getting some push right there. You see some of those guys, Jared Krieger and Bear Palazzo. They did their job, no doubt about it.
That'll bring on the extra point unit, and Robbie Ferrante, senior place kicker for the Wolves, to attempt the point after the snap is back. Great snap. Kick is up, and it is through. So with 10:45 remaining here in the second quarter, Mandeville leads 14-7. Kicking off is Jack Benaldi for the Wolves. Benaldi also a soccer player for the very successful St. Paul soccer program. And here's Teron Jones returning this one, coming near sideline before being bottled up over here on near sideline. A little chippiness down there, but no flags. And the Skippers will take over at the 22-yard line.
Yeah, Wayne Galloway and Will Robinson were on the spot there for the Skippers. Did a good job in coverage. Very disciplined, making sure there was no big plays to be had.
So last drive ended in a fumble that was inadvertently kicked by Quinn for the St. Paul's recovery. And so Mandeville looking for a better drive this go-round. Handoff goes Quinn again, left side. He's met in the backfield and brought down. Initial hit there.
Galloway, number 9.
Yeah, Galloway.
Same guy who was on the coverage. Putting his nose on the ball, back-to-back plays here. One on special teams and one on defense.
And Wayne Galloway, you know, sometimes things in life just aren't fair. 6'1", 190 sophomore, very athletic. I remember watching him play on the JV team as a freshman last year, saying, man, this is a varsity player. And he actually did get some varsity reps last year for the Wolves. But 6'1", 190 as a sophomore. Snap back, looking to pass, gets it out to Jones, who's wide open, but it dropped it. He was wide open out in the flat.
Yeah, that's the proverbial run before you catch it. You don't want to do that. I mean, it's something that you see quite often, and it's one of those that Mr. Jones is going to want back because he knows as soon as he tucks that ball, he has an opportunity to make something happen.
3rd and 15 for the Skippers. As they reset down on the field. Steele calling for it, rolling to his right, looking downfield, pass over the middle, and he passed into double coverage there from Gremion and Bukwa.
Yeah, and that play was one of those where St. Paul did an excellent job of diagnosing it. They had guys in position to make plays, and honestly, Steele really just didn't have anywhere to go with the ball. So you try to make the most of it, but it was not going to be anywhere near the first down.
So the Skipper punting unit comes on as Nicholas trots onto the field. Very young specialists for the Skippers. You have Costa, a freshman, Nicholas, a sophomore, and their long snapper, Odin Pierce, also a freshman.
There's a few youngsters out there for both squads, but especially Mandeville.
Great snap from the freshman, end-over-end punt, and fair catch called by Grosh at about the 46-yard line.
And I tell you what, that hit Grosh in a weird spot. I mean, way up on his chest, right underneath his face mask. He did an excellent job of handling it, but he's probably breathing a sigh of relief there too, because that's one of those where it can pop off really easily. So I don't know if it took a weird turn in the air, and when I say an end over end or something of that nature, sometimes you'll get it to where it's tough to read, and he did a good job.
So St. Paul's takes over at the 49-yard line, just inside Skipper territory. McDowell calling for it, handoff goes to Williamson, has a hole, barreling forward, and he's 225 pounds of muscle. He can truck a defender. The first guy who makes contact normally isn't going to bring him down, except in that case where we saw Malcolm Johnson rock him back a couple drives ago.
It's going to take a special player to stop that momentum. And you know, Cooper Mybum, he did an excellent job of sticking his nose in there, but again, he only slowed momentum, didn't stop it.
Snap goes back, handoff Williamson, and Williamson brought down by number 41, Zach Bulovas.
And Nick Montreal was, he also took him out at the knee right there and definitely took away his momentum, and that's about the only way you're going to do it when you have an athlete like Williamson rolling at you.
So that brings up 2nd and 8 for the Wolves. 9 minutes on the clock to go here before the half. Motion across from Grosh. They pitch to Grosh coming left side on the jet sweep. That was it looked to be a hold, and there's a late call, but it looked like Cooper Mybum had the Mandeville defender around the side. Let's see if that is the call.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it is holding called on the Wolves, so that will be negated and drop the Wolves back. So as they await a new play, the officials will mark off the yardage. And that brings them to the 42-yard line. So it'll bring up 2nd and 15. Motion across, McDowell calling for it, looking to pass. Malcolm Johnson pressuring, it's a screen to Williamson, looking to spin around. Defender's ball comes loose, and it looks like St. Paul's was able to get back on it. Heads up play there from Cameron Vidal.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a good play design. Basically trying to get Mandeville's most athletic defensive lineman, Malcolm Johnson, to commit full bore, and he did, and then they basically were like, look, we'll just throw it the other way.
So 3rd and 12, 8:33 on the clock. New play coming in from the sideline, but 3rd and 12 for St. Paul's offense, looking to equalize it on this drive as they trail by 1 score. Snap back, screen out to Grosh, and Grosh is
excellent play.
Heads up play. Devin Sieber, the senior, with the tackle.
Yeah, he read that. I mean, he was on that play immediately.
So that'll bring up 4th down for the Wolves as they mull over whether or not they're going to punt, and they are keeping the offensive unit on the field.
Yeah, they have a lot of confidence in this unit, and they're inside the 40, almost at the 35, so it's not high risk. But again, they're not looking to draw someone off, so they're looking to go for it here.
Trips left, McDowell calling for it, looking downfield, takes it himself, running around the right side. He dropped the ball, picks it back up, and he will be very close to the first down.
He's going to be about a yard short, it looks like. My guess is this is going to be Mandeville's ball right there.
And it is the Mandeville High's ball, turnover on downs. So the Mandeville defense comes up big again against this Wolves offense.
And I tell you what, it was really close. As you said, McDowell really got a nice bounce. The ball, was popped loose, and when it hit, it just bounced right back up into his arms. And at that point, he's actually leaning forward and has some momentum. So the play actually was about as close as it was going to be given those circumstances.
Steele in the gun, calls for it, hands off Quinn, goes left side, and it looked like he was going down. He was able to get away from the defender and kept going for about another 5-yard gain.
His legs just don't stop churning. I mean, he is continually working.
Charles Quinn has been impressive tonight. 2nd and 5 for the Skippers. And what a blessing to have that backfield. Charles Quinn, Darren Steele, and Teron Jones. Snap goes back to Steele, handoff. Jones cuts it back to the left side and had a hole, but brought down from behind by Buqua.
I tell you what, he's able to just cut on a dime, and then as soon as he makes the cut, he's in 2nd gear, and he's on his way to 3rd, 4th, and 5th gear if you don't get a hand on him.
So 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line, and bottled up almost immediately. No gain on the play, brought down by number 83. That is Noah Seiden. Noah Seiden has been, as far as sacks go, silent tonight, but he is the Wolves sack leader with 9 on the season.
And I tell you, Lane Scobell, number 7, he was in on that as well. They've got some quality along that defensive front for St. Paul.
.643 before half. Steele calls for it. Handoff goes to Quinn, left side, has a good lead block from Jones, looking to cut out, spins away from the defender, and he's able to get a 1st down.
Yes, again, his legs just don't stop churning. He is continually working, put a nice little spin move on top of that, He got the first down, but just pure effort.
1st and 10. .624 as the Skippers would like to extend this lead before half. Snap is back. Handoff, this time Jones with Quinn as his lead blocker, and Jones slips again.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where St. Paul did an excellent job on the edge right there, and there just wasn't a whole lot of room to maneuver. And he kind of tried to put the brakes on, and we've talked about this for whatever reason, cutting on the field for almost everyone but Quinn is like stepping on a wet bar of soap.
2nd and 10 for the Skippers. Steele calling for it. Pass is complete out there to Adams. Has a hole going forward, and he'll be brought down by Buqua.
And a flag.
But that's a first down. And
might be a face mask tacked on here at the end.
So let's see what the official call is.
And if that's the case, that's 15 more.
They wave off, no foul.
Huh?
So
obviously,
no face mask.
Obviously wasn't that.
5:30 to go here in the second quarter. Mandeville marching down the field as the chains go to get set up. Steele calls for it. They go Quinn, left side, has a hole, cuts up. Buqua on the tackle along with Seiden, but that was a gain of 3-2 for Quinn.
And again, that offensive line is really just getting the job done.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that hole, and you know, if they're making tackles at the second level, that means you're gaining a chunk of yards, and as long as you can move it.
That's right. And I tell you
be
what,
successful in offense.
You really don't want to be making tackles at the second level.
They go Teron Jones this time, right side, has a hole, running past defenders. Teron Jones has the hat trick, his 3rd touchdown of the night.
Wow, wow, he hit that edge, took off, and at that point, no catching him, no catching him. He hit his top gear, and it was over with.
Yeah, the speed of Teron Jones makes the other makes the St. Paul's defenders look like they're in quicksand. So Costa on for the extra point. Out of the hold of Brister. Snap is low, but Brister gets a hold of it, puts it out, and it is good. So with 4:44 remaining here in the second quarter, the Mandeville Skippers lead 21-7. Nicholas to kick this one away for the Skippers after the Teron Jones touchdown. This one is short, not going into the end zone like he normally kicks it away. And here's Vidal on the return, looking for a hole, coming outside, and there is a flag down on the field.
And I tell you what, I'm not sure if that was by design, but if it was, I'm sure that the Mandeville coaches are probably saying, hey, let's not do that again, because you don't want the playmakers having a chance to do just what they're designed to do, and that's make plays.
Yeah, Cameron Vidal very speedy for the Wolves. You don't want the ball in his hands on a kickoff.
Had a foul on the play here. And it's going to be on St. Paul, it looks like.
So that'll back him up after the Vidal return.
It looks to be holding on St. Paul in the return.
Holding call. So 4:37 to go here in the second. These fans amped here on the Mandeville side. Why wouldn't you be? You're leading 21-7 here on senior night against a huge rival.
And playing great, no doubt.
Motion across, McDowell calling for it, screen pass out, and it is dropped. Pass intended for Logan Davenport on the bubble screen.
They're going to call that incomplete. And for the Wolves, that's probably a good thing because it looked like it would have lost about 3 or 4 yards right there.
So that'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Wolves. Ball is at the 18-yard line. Excuse me, 13. McDowell calling for it. And Malcolm Johnson. We've talked about him a lot tonight.
I tell you what, he is impressive. We watched him earlier in the year. North Shore, Mandeville were in a barn burner, and North Shore was looking to score at the end of the half. And I tell you, the pressure that he applied on North Shore's quarterback, Walter Harris, was amazing. And you're seeing that same motor tonight in the backfield, relentless.
Yeah, Walter Harris going on to West Point. So McDowell, well, nearly got the Mandeville defensive line, but good job staying on side as Malcolm Johnson chomping at the bit there, but good job holding discipline on the hard count. Williamson set to McDowell's left, looking to pass now. Johnson pressuring, gets this one away, and it is dropped in and out of the hands of Logan Davenport.
I tell you what, I think Davenport had his hands on it, was actually going to bring that in for an amazing play. But Mandeville's secondary did a good job of bumping him just enough to make sure that that didn't happen.
So the Wolves punting unit comes on once again, led by Cameron Clooney. And back deep to return for the Skippers, Teron Jones and Ben Bonner. Bonner had that big interception earlier in the game. Snap is back, very high snap. Punted away by Clooney, and it's a high boomer. Jones calls the fair catch right at the 50-yard line, and they will mark it at the 49. But the Skippers start this drive in Wolf territory.
Yeah, I tell you cannot complain about that at all, and that's a testament to their defense stepping up and playing quite well against a very potent St. Paul offense.
So they'll have 3:24 on the clock here. 1st and 10, ball at the 49. And looking to do what they just did the last time they had the ball, and Teron Jones gets in the end zone.
Wow.
Low snap they give to Quinn, to Jones, looking to make something happen, and he does. After the very low snap that was nearly on the ground, Jones gains about 8 yards on the carry.
And I tell you what, with the wealth of talent in Mandeville's backfield, and you know what we really haven't seen a whole lot of tonight is design runs for Steele. I'm wondering if that's a wrinkle that's gonna be played out in the second half.
Well, maybe only if they need it.
It may be the case, because I tell you what, their two running backs have absolutely hit the hole, and once they've gotten through, Mr. Quinn and Mr. Jones have handled their business.
2nd down, handoff goes to Quinn, goes up the middle, and he's dropped by Seiden.
Yeah, there was one, it's one of those things, again, we've talked about it. When you get the momentum, you're good to go, but he didn't get any momentum at all. I tell you what, the interior of St. Paul's D-line did an excellent job right there. Like you said, number 83, Seiden. He made sure that there was no momentum to be had.
1st and 10 for the Skippers, 2:30 on the clock and counting as they await the play. And we've seen a very up-tempo offense from the Skippers for most of this first half, now taking their time.
Well, this is tactics 101. You've got the lead, the clock's your friend.
Snap is back. Steele hands off. Jones has the lead block from Quinn. And flag is down in the area of holding. Teron Jones still on his feet, and they throw another flag. It looks to be a face mask over here on the near sideline. Maybe that was it. I didn't see anything else.
That's pretty much the only thing I can think that it would be. The question is was that actually holding on the interior? And I believe you're correct.
So the officials have a conference there, potentially offsetting penalties. So waiting the official decision. Officials are going to come over.
Yeah, there's some explaining to do.
Here we go, the call. Holding called on the offense. After the an unsportsmanlike conduct after the play on St. Paul's. So So first down. So they'll mark back the 10 yards for the Skippers and then go forward 15 for that unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, and the reason being is the unsportsmanlike, I guess, is a dead ball foul. So
right. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Skippers. 2:05 on the clock, and they have the ball at the 36-yard line.
And again, it's very likely we're going to see more of the Quinn and Jones show. At this point, I tell you, Mr. Steele did a good job rolling out to his left last time, so that's also in play here as well.
Wallace and Jones to the left. Malcolm Johnson in on offense at a flanker there, right behind the right tackle. Heavier ram package for the Skippers. Snap is back. Steele keeps this one, those runs that you were looking for from him, and he'll gain about 3 on the carry. He stretched out right at the end.
Yeah, and I tell you, Mr. Johnson, Malcolm Johnson right there, looked like he actually slipped just a tad, or else he gets a better block, and at that point, Darren Steele's actually rolling through the hole. Instead, it didn't quite play out that way, and St. Paul did a good job of wrapping up when they had the opportunity.
So Skippers readjusting as the new play comes in from the sideline, and the cheerleaders are firing T-shirts into the crowd with the cannon. Screen out. Wallace has room to run. 15, 10, 5, touchdown. What a great play call.
That was an excellent play call. I mean, real quick, basically hit the wide receiver screen. He rolled up, had space on the inside. Once he hit that space, he saw Nutmeg Green in front of him, and he put the afterburners on, and he was gone.
34-yard touchdown reception for Roland Wallace, the Skippers' leading receiver. Costa on to attempt the extra point as the Skippers line up in that swinging gate and they readjust. Costa going to kick out of the hold of Brister. Snap is back, kick is up, and it is good. So with 1:17 remaining here in the half, the Mandeville High Skippers lead 28-7. Nicholas kicking this one away. Let's see if he boots it far, and we have a stoppage. He does get it out of the back of the end zone, but it looks to be an offside on the kickoff.
Well, I tell you, that might bring a return into play. He's done a good job of booting the ball into the end zone. The last kick prior to this one, it didn't quite make it, and Cameron Vidal almost made him pay for it. If he gets outside, he's got wheels. Yeah. So that may bring Mr. Vidal's skills into play right here. So let's see how what kind of impact that call actually has, that offside call just now.
So now Nicholas will be kicking off at the 35-yard line. But there's times where he kicks it. I mean, it may not go out the back of the end zone, but he's capable of still from here getting it into the end zone.
He can definitely reach the end zone.
So the kickoff coming from Nicholas. Boots this one deep, and it will not make the end zone. Grant Grosh will return this one, has a head full of steam, going up the middle, hits the hole hard, dragging defenders, and he'll be brought down by a host of Skippers. That's number 85, Mason McNeely, 5'5", 124 junior, making the tackle there.
I tell you what, it's a good thing he did, because Grosh had a head of steam. I mean, as is, St. Paul's is going to set up with nice field position here at the 45. So we talk about that call and how small mistakes can become big mistakes, that definitely cost Mandeville quite a few yards in terms of defensive positioning.
And 1:07 to go. St. Paul's wants to score quickly. They get the ball after the half. McDowell running to his left, scrambling, trying to make a play upfield, and he will run out of bounds after crossing the 50, and there's a flag down after the play. We'll see what this flag is St. Paul's didn't seem too happy about it.
Yeah, this looks like it could be a personal foul against the Wolves. I saw a nope.
Yeah, it is against the Wolves, and that'll back them up.
Well, I saw one of the Mandeville defenders getting up, and you could easily see he didn't get there on his own accord, is the best way to say it.
So that'll bring up 2nd and long for the Wolves. Ball is at the 36-yard line. Some extra whistles. We're going to have a conference by the officials. Under a minute to go. So while we wait here, under a minute to go, St. Paul's is looking to score here before the half because they get the ball after the half.
Yeah.
But this certainly doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It actually puts them in a tough position here. I mean, they're looking at almost 2nd and 20, and under any circumstances, that's a long chew. So for them to actually, look to find pay dirt and, pull out a 60-plus yard play. I mean, not to say that it can't happen, but again, with only 59 seconds left, Mandeville probably has their guard up against that.
So 2nd and 19 for the Wolves. Trips to the right in the spread, trying to draw Mandeville offsides. Doesn't work. Very disciplined defensive line for the Skippers.
That they are.
Williamson switches sides. Motions out. Snap is back. Draw. Designed run for McDowell, looking to make a play, and he's brought down by Zach Bullivus.
Yeah, he'll pick up 6 or 7 yards, but under these circumstances with the clock working against St. Paul, Mandeville will give that up until halftime.
St. Paul's has 3 timeouts left, but the clock's still running. 39 seconds left on it. Trips to the right, calling for it. McDowell rolling to his right, looking, launches it out, and it falls incomplete. So that stops the clock with 27 seconds remaining. But St. Paul still all of their timeouts left.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're looking down in distance, you're looking at the amount of time left on the clock. So I don't think there's an impetus right there for St. Paul's. The big concern here is if Mandeville gets a good return, they could have an opportunity to tack some more points on, particularly the fact that they have all 3 timeouts is left and a kicker who, as we've already mentioned a few times, can put a charge into a ball.
So Mr. Clooney on to kick this one away for the Wolves. No one back deep for the Skippers. Snap is high. Gets back and a boomer away from Clooney. Benaldi stalking the ball as it rolls forward. And the Wolves will down it inside the 10-yard line with 15 seconds remaining. You think we just see the need from the Skippers here and head to half?
I tell you what a great punt that was given the circumstances. Absolutely no return. I mean, the height of the punt was superb. And then you get the nice roll there after it hits and pick up another 15 yards, eats up some more clock. And again, Mandeville, I don't think is going to look to do much. I think they'll be quite happy with the circumstances and heading to halftime.
Yeah, here's Steele under center. Calls for it, knees this one, and that will bring us to half. Official signaling to run the clock, and that will run the clock down, and the players will head to the locker room, and the Skippers have to be feeling good with this lead going into the second half as the Skippers lead 28-7 against the St. Paul's Wolves here on senior night. right, kicking off the second half. Skippers up 28-7 here on senior night, and Nicholas boots this one away for a touchback.
And there is that weapon again. I tell you what, he has got a big leg, big cannon of a leg that can put it in the end zone, and it's quite a weapon because, again, it takes away the capabilities of the return squad.
What a roller coaster season it's been for the Skippers. Started off not the way they would have wanted to start out the year, and they've battled back, and now they're leading their arguably their biggest rival 28-7.
Yeah, I tell you, they're finishing strong, that's for sure.
So McDowell in the gun, motion across. The give goes to Vidal. Vidal going right side, still on his feet, and Ben Bonner will run him out of bounds, but Vidal gets the first down first.
And a nice gain right there. I tell you what, showing his athleticism, getting to the edge, turning it up, and making sure that he, got a good chunk of yardage. It looks like he's going to be a tad bit short. About second and 4 here is what it looks like.
Yeah, 2nd and 4, but he must have stepped out. He kept going down the sideline after stepping out, but they mark him out. This motion again, snap is back. The give to Mashburn coming left side, and he's brought down by Nick Jones.
And I tell you what, the first guy's just not bringing down Mashburn. Ben Bonner did a good job of slowing the momentum. But, again, you're not stopping Mashburn typically once he gets going one-on-one. He's just such a big body to be rolling through there.
Very up-tempo for the Wolves. Handoff there. Williamson battling through. He had a hole that kind of opened and closed as quickly as it opened, and the Skippers bottle him up and bring him down. This Giacone and company for the Skippers.
Yeah, they the front seven for Mandeville did an excellent job of making sure that hole disappeared with quickness. And I tell you, Malcolm Johnson, he was leading the charge there.
Yeah, we've said his name all night. A stellar athlete for this Skipper defense. Vidal motion across. Jonte keeps it himself, running right side, and he's bottled up in the backfield, stays on his feet, and he's dropped by Teron Jones, playing both ways.
And I tell you what, he almost got away. Jones reached out at the last second and got a hold to a shoestring, and then was able to climb up to the ankle and finish off the tackle. But yeah, you know what? Mandeville is really playing well right now, and if you've got to put some of those guys out there that are typically on the offensive side to finish off plays on the defensive side, that's what you do.
Yeah, Teron Jones in it, that right dog position, essentially a strong safety or outside linebacker for the Skippers. McDowell dropping back, pressure bearing down almost immediately. He dumps this one off. That'll be a first down and then some to Williamson as he's brought down over there on the far sideline by Zach Bulovas. But the dump off short pass, Williamson gets a first down.
And I tell you, McDowell did an excellent job right there. He just basically delayed everything in terms of decisions. He could have taken off, he could have thrown it early. Instead, he let the defense figure out what they needed to do and took what they gave him, and what they gave him was the dump off.
1st and 10, ball is at the 47-yard line in Skipper territory. McDowell, handoff, Williamson going right side, big hole, and hits it like a freight train, barreling forward to the 30-yard line.
I tell you what, if he stays on his feet right there, he's finding 6, and he almost did. He lost his balance right there at the end. But the reality is he actually made it through the gauntlet of Skippers that were pinging off of him as he was rolling through the hole.
So on this drive, St. Paul's very up-tempo, and they're driving on the Skippers. Fake the pitch. The pitch goes to Mashburn going left side, trucks 2 defenders, and he's crawling for extra yardage as he gets to about the 24-yard line.
And Ben Bonner did a good job of slowing momentum, but again, my word, I tell you what, when you get Mashburn with some momentum, it's serious, but maybe for not.
So that called there is the St. Paul's 7th penalty of the night. 7 penalties for 67 yards.
And that is a costly one, I tell you. It's gonna be a cab ride on first down right here.
Oh yeah.
Or an Uber ride, I suppose.
Uber.
I should say.
A lot of people don't use the cabs anymore. They call the Ubers. It's more convenient. So 1st and 23 motioning out Williamson, and McDowell keeps it himself. He'll get to the 40, so a gain of about 3 on the carry.
Yeah, it's a design play, hopefully trying to freeze the linebackers just long enough for him to find some space, but Mandeville did a good job. They were disciplined and stayed home.
9:03 on the clock here in the third quarter. St. Paul's getting set up quickly. Trips to the right. You have Nick Stanton to the bottom of your screen, and we've been talking about the discipline of the Mandeville defensive line all night. That time, not holding true.
Yeah, who was that? Jacob Morgan. He was kind of excited right there and pinned his ears back. And I tell you what, it does benefit St. Paul because it took second and a really long 20-plus yards, and now it's second and 15.
McDowell screen out to Logan Davenport. And Davenport will get back maybe, well, a little bit past the original line of scrimmage.
And again, where that penalty is important, we're looking at a 3rd and 10. That's in the playbook. It might not have a really high success rate, but it's in the playbook. You got plenty of plays of your St. Paul's that you can point to and say, we can find 10 yards or 11 yards here.
Wolves awaiting the play. They'll go trips left, staying in that spread package.
I think this is 4-down territory if they don't get it.
McDowell calls for it, keeps it himself, trying to make a play. Malcolm Johnson drags him down along with a host of other skippers. He gained about 4 yards on the carry. So 4th and 6.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if St. Paul does not go for that here. I tell you, Malcolm Johnson, he blew the play up, and he turned McDowell back inside, and then he is just so quick, he was actually able to climb on and drag him down from behind.
Trying to get the Mandeville defensive line to jump. The hard count doesn't work. They hold discipline there. Safe for once, Mandeville's defensive line doesn't jump on those hard counts. McDowell dropping back, looking right side, lofts it out. It's caught complete to Grant Grosh for the first down as he's run out of bounds. And there you need to be a little bit more careful when you catch that ball and be mindful of the sticks, because he started to come back on his own accord rather than being pushed. In that case, had he crossed the sticks, it wouldn't have been a first down, but luckily he didn't get there before pushed out of bounds by the defensive back.
And I tell you what, McDowell put the ball out. It was he ran a nice route. Being aware of where he is obviously important, but nice play on St. Paul's part.
McDowell, double play action, rolling to his left as pressure bears down, and he's sacked deep in the backfield.
Yeah, guess who?
Malcolm Johnson.
Yep, he is just disruptive. He is a force. And, once he's there, he's tenacious. It's one thing for him to blow the play up. It's one thing for him to redirect whoever's on offense trying to make a play. But he actually kicks it up a notch and makes the play in the backfield more often than not.
So that'll be 2nd and 17 for the Wolves. Snap back, McDowell, pressure coming. McDowell pass is behind the intended receiver and Jack Mashburn. He was having to slide and reach backwards for the ball, but it falls incomplete.
Well, again, I think that's the effect Malcolm Johnson's having. He was in the backfield again, applying pressure again, and McDowell had to get rid of it probably a second or two early, and as a result, the pass wasn't where it needed to be.
So 3rd and 17 for the Wolves. They want to continue this drive and cut the deficit as they trail 28-7.
Look for the hard count right here and see what happens.
Trips to the right, McDowell dropping back. Malcolm Johnson pressuring, got his hand on him, lofts it away. He's drilled as he throws, and the ball falls incomplete, but McDowell went down hard on the hit from Connor Riche.
And he's still down.
We will step away for the injury timeout. So 4th and 17, Jack Mashburn in at quarterback for the Wolves, looking to get the first down here. Mashburn lofts it out, beautiful pass, but it is intercepted by the skippers. And Devin Sieber heading.
Now's a return time. Up.
And he's dropped down at the 20-yard line, and there's a flag down after the tackle. and some a scuffle
Yeah,
going on the field.
Corey Williamson.
And another flag is down for Corey Williamson's mouthiness.
Yeah, he did that with a little bit of extra so to speak. I don't know if that's technically a personal foul. I mean, it's a tackle, but that being said, if it's more fit for Greco-Roman wrestling, more likely than not, that you're going to see some hankies.
Yeah, if Brock Lesnar would do it to someone in a ring, you probably would get flagged for it.
Yeah, I really and truly just think that if it's a straight-up tackle, it's a non-issue. But it's one of those where I think he had a little extra oomph in that one, and I guess it caught the official's eye. So it looks more likely than not that is the initial flag. As far as the rest of the laundry on the field, who knows?
Yeah,
As you said, it looked like he may have been giving someone a little bit of massage on their ears.
Well, and you know, down 28-7, tensions are running high, especially it's already a rivalry matchup, and then you see you're down 21 points to him. The mouthiness sometimes occurs in that situation, but he had his teammates saying, hey, back off, let's get off the field, let's stop, let's calm it down, and he didn't listen and got the flag.
And it looks like it's going to be 15 yards stepped off. I think they only called one there, actually. Yeah, this is definitively a rival game, an intense rivalry. Many of the guys who are dressed up for St. Paul's live in Mandeville, so you're in the same neighborhood. Maybe share a fence in the backyard. So this is definitely an intense rivalry.
1st and 10 for the Skippers. Ball at the 35-yard line. Steele calls for it. Give to Quinn. Quinn going left side, and he's brought down over there hard by Gremion.
Yeah, I tell you what, Gremion did a good job of flowing to the ball right there and made a nice tackle. Made sure that the momentum was stopped before he could get into the secondary.
So that brings up 2nd and 8 for the Skippers. We go two-back set once again. Hard count from Steele. It's Quinn, Jones, and Steele in the backfield. Steele calls for it, hands off to Jones. Jones looking to push forward. There was a lot of penetration off snap.
Yes, there was.
Jones made something out of nothing, though, gaining about a yard.
Yeah, I tell you, when you saw the defensive front line of St. Paul, they were immediately in the backfield. I didn't catch the number of who it was, but it was disruptive, and certainly Steele made something out of nothing, as you say. But well done and well diagnosed by St. Paul.
3rd and 7 for the Skippers. 4:58 on the clock. And now it looks Steele will be alone in the backfield. They're going full 5 wide. Steele calling for it, immediately rolling to his right, and he will keep this one himself and come out of bounds, and they will not call the flag there because contact was initiated before it got to that sideline. So St. Paul's avoiding another penalty there.
Yeah, I tell you, I thought that was actually more of a penalty than the first one, but again, the guy that matters is a guy with a whistle.
So that brings up 4th down for the Skippers, and they bring the punt unit on as Nicholas drops back to punt. Grant Grosh is back to return. And I believe the Skippers are missing a guy on the field, player coming on late for him at left guard. Play clock down to 4 seconds. 2-1. And that will be a delay of game penalty on the Skippers.
Yeah, that's one of those, a mix-up. Special teams are obviously important. It's not going to be the end of the world in terms of field position. You're still going to have to do your job in terms of going downfield and making sure you limit the return. But that being said, I'm sure the Mandeville staff is like, okay, we need to make sure this is ironed out. Let's not have this issue become a reoccurring issue.
No. The white hat coming over to talk to Coach Buell. They haven't marked. Still some discussion. Fourth. Oh, they want 4:45 on the clock. It's currently set to 4:18. Wow, now it says 43:90. That's not a thing.
No, it's not.
Oh, now it's set. They wanted 4:39. So, Nicholas now looking to get this punt away. Everybody set on the field. Grosh back deep to return. Snap is back. Good snap from Pierce. Nearly blocked as St. Paul's player almost got his hand up, and a fair catch called by Grosh. St. Paul's will start their drive at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, it was a good rush by St. Paul, definitely applying pressure, and Mandeville did an excellent job getting the ball off and certainly had people in a position to make sure that no return was set up right there.
4:34 to go here in the third. Out comes the St. Paul's offense, and let's see who comes out at quarterback. Will it be Mashburn or McDowell? And it looks to be Mashburn.
Yeah, I tell you, McDowell really took a lick right there on that last play, so he may be dinged up just a tad.
Very tight formation here for the Wolves. Motion across. Mashburn calls for it, fakes the give to Grosh, keeps it himself going right side, and he's brought down over there by number 6, Roland Wallace playing. So they have Teron Jones sometimes playing that dog linebacker on the right side, and they have Roland Wallace over there on the left.
Again, Mandeville's coaching staff, Coach Buell and company, they're looking at it saying, hey, we've got to win out in order to have a shot at the playoffs. And at this point, put your players in a position to make plays.
Mashburn pass complete. No, incomplete. Intended for Nick Stanton.
Mandeville did a good job right there in terms of their front seven getting some pressure. This is tough for Mashburn. I mean, he's coming in cold in terms of being at the quarterback position. So it's not like he had a ton of time to warm up. So this is a situation where he's going to have to rely on his experience. He has gotten a lot of reps this year. So let's see if this pays off for him.
3rd and 8. Mashburn rolling to his left. He'll keep this one himself. He tucks and runs, tries to lay a lick, and he and Roland Wallace collided there. Two very powerful players run into each other, but Mashburn he'll be short of the first down.
Yeah, and I tell you, I'd like to see this again at some point if Rhett was in a great spot when this rolls out in the middle of the week. I'm not sure if Mashburn was all the way down. Looks like they're going to call it a first down, though.
Yeah, it did look as if he rolled across the back of Wallace and got on his feet.
Yeah. Now, I mean, maybe an elbow hit or something of that nature.
Or his knee hit.
But, they're a lot closer than we are, as we've mentioned in the past when we question any calls whatsoever. We do so tepidly. We're not too straightforward on most of our calls. But I thought he was still on his toes and could have actually just kind of trotted across for the first down. We saw something like that earlier this year, except in that case it was actually Mandeville's running back that stayed on his toes.
That's right.
Was able to scoot in for a touchdown. I don't think Mashburn would have done that, though.
1st and 10 for the Wolves. He wasn't short. Mashburn keeps it right side, running, hits the hole hard, still on his feet, going 30, and he'll be brought down. Well, the ball came loose. But
he's down there, they're saying.
Yeah, they'll say. Yeah, they're moving the chain, so the ground caused it. But the tackle there by Jones and Giacconi.
And I tell you what, when you look at Jack Mashburn rolling through there, 6'5", 190 pounds. You better bring your lunch bucket if you're going to bring him down, because it's going to be a lot of work.
So 1st and 10 once again for the Wolves. 3:11 to go here in the third quarter. Player coming on late, comes off. I see. Coach Sears was giving him the play over there on the far sideline, and he's calling it in to the offensive line. Trips to the left for the Wolves. That was all messed up from the beginning as the snap came out really late to Mashburn. Barely got back there. It didn't seem like the snap count was understood by the offensive line and the quarterback.
Yeah, that was one of those things that you could easily tell that there was a whole lot going on there in terms of miscommunication. Unfortunately, it happens, and when you have a different quarterback come in, not to say Mashburn's a new quarterback, but every once in a while you do have a hiccup like this when you have a slight change.
Trips to the left. Mashburn calls for it. High snap. Give to Williamson. And he's running forward. He'll be brought down. Well, won't be brought down, but he'll be forward progress will be stopped by Malcolm Johnson and a host of other skippers. And it looked like Williamson got back to maybe the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I tell you, Mandeville did a good job of making sure that he didn't get any momentum. And if that's the case, I mean, then you just, get your buddies in there and finish off the tackle, which is exactly what they did.
Staying in the trips package, trips left for the Wolves. Mashburn pass out to Grosh. Grosh looking to make a move, and he's wrapped up and driven out of bounds by Sieber.
I tell you what, nice play by the Mandeville defense right there. Awfully close to the sideline, but, I got to say that the officials have been fairly consistent concerning that.
Very true.
If the contact's made in bounds and it carries you out, I mean, there's no flag on the play.
2:10 to go here in the third. Standard base, ace formation, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. Mashburn pass is batted away by Roland Wallace.
Yes, indeed. He got his hands up, put the big paw on it, and that play actually could have got him a first down. Instead, now St. Paul's is looking at a pretty tough 4th and 8.
And they, of course, keep the offense on the field here. Trips to the left. A big drive here for St. Paul's.
This is a big play right here.
Yeah.
St. Paul really needs to focus on the first down more than the touchdown. If they get the touchdown, that's fine. This is a big play.
Mandeville crowd fired up. Mashburn calls for it. Looking left side pass is incomplete. Intended over for Nick Stanton, but well underthrown.
Yeah, and big stand right there by the Mandeville defense. They did their job. And I tell you what, we talked about this beforehand. There is a wealth of talent and offensive talent on that St. Paul offensive side. So for Mandeville to be in this situation, up 21, holding the Wolves to 7, that is a testament to them coming tonight. And as one coach that used to be up the interstate away says, they got a want. And there's a whole lot of want on this senior night for Mandeville to handle their business.
1st and 10 for the Skippers. Ball is at the 26-yard line. Snap back, handoff goes to Ron Jones, coming near sideline, looking to cut up, and he will be driven back by a host of Wolves, including Robert Bouquois and number 92, Nick Piccone.
Yeah, I tell you, Mandeville got lucky there. It looked like they may have gotten away with a hold, and given the fact that they only picked up, a couple of yards on that, a hold would have put him in a tough position in terms of 2nd and long. As is 2nd and 8, it's manageable still.
Yes, 2nd and 8. The minute 23 to go here in the third quarter. Steele calls for it. Handoff, no, play action to Quinn. Pass is complete out to Matt Adams, but his knee looked to be down as he attempted to throw it to him on the screen.
The ball was low, and he went down to get it, and unfortunately for him, and fortunately for St. Paul, his knee hit, and the referee is on the right. I mean, the official's right there. He sees it, and the whistle was blown immediately.
50 seconds. Clock running. 3rd and 10 for the Skippers as the play comes in from the sideline from Coach Micah Hickman. Check that, Coach Bordelon. Coach Hickman is up on top of the box here. Snap is back, Steele looking to pass, rolling to his left, keeping it himself. There's a flag way in the direction of holding, but Steele staying up. No one can bring him down, and there a German suplex from Grimion.
I tell you what, he showed a lot of tenacity, but once St. Paul eventually got him, they made sure the tackle was made with a little extra zeal. Grimion made sure that it wasn't going anywhere. And as you say, it's probably in the area of holding to start with, so it might be coming back.
Right. Yeah, holding called on the Skipper, so that'll negate the run from Steele and drive them back. Very few penalties for the Skippers tonight. That one's actually their third on the night.
And yes, they have been pretty clean. That's one of those where Steele's like, hey guys, look, if I'm going to go down there and wrestle with Mr. Grimion, I'm probably going to not feel so well afterwards. So let's get rid of the hold, so at least that work will count for something.
Clock winding down. Skipper should let this one run out before running the play, as it's down to 4 seconds, and they will. They'll let it go. So at the end of the third quarter, as the buzzer sounds, the Mandeville Skippers lead the St. Paul's Wolves 28-7 here on senior night.
St. Tammany Parish Public Schools, an A-rated school district. Graduates with the highest ACT scores in the state. Facilities with the latest technology. Safe and secure schools. A variety of sports. Fine arts. And learning to last a lifetime.
I'm Superintendent Trey Foles, and this is where we educate every child, every day.
Start of the fourth quarter. Steele in the gun, two-back set, calls for it, handoff to Ron Jones, cutting it up, dancing around. He'll be brought down by Noah Seiden after a gain of about 3.
Yeah, Michael Philippe was also in on that tackle. He had him around the ankles, and Seiden cleaned it up.
So it's 4th and 18 for the Skippers. Out will trot Nicholas and the punting unit. And Grosh is back to return the punt for the Wolves.
And then, at this point, it looks like Mandeville could have some really good field position. St. Paul could have some really good field position. Mandeville needs to look to put this ball towards the sideline.
Low snap. Good job by Nicholas getting the ball away. Grosh will field it, and he'll be dragged down at about the 48, 49-yard line.
Excellent coverage right there by Mandeville.
So the St. Paul's Wolves will take over at the 49-yard line, the Mandeville 49-yard line, looking to finish a drive. They've had some good drives in this game where they've marched down the field, but through a series of events, they haven't been able to finish all but one.
Yeah, they've either had a bad snap, a false start, or some sort of penalty. And that's uncharacteristic for St. Paul, but it's definitely been a problem for them tonight.
1st and 10. Hard count from McDowell as the new play comes in. They're going with trips to the right. You have Cameron Vidal as a receiver at the top of your screen. McDowell calls for it, pitches it out to Williamson, coming up left side, trying to barrel forward, and he's brought down by a host of Skippers, including Giacconi and Devin Sieber.
Yeah, I mentioned Mandeville looked like they got away with a hold earlier. I don't know how there wasn't a hold called right there, because it looked like a nice takedown.
2nd and 6 for the Wolves. McDowell calls for it and screen out to Grosh. Grosh gets away from 2 tacklers, dives forward as he felt the presence of Malcolm Johnson bearing down on him.
I tell you what, he broke 2 tackles right there and was able to, lean forward, get the ball a little bit closer to the first down marker, making it a very manageable 3rd and short.
Yeah, 3rd and 3 for the Wolves. Snap is back. McDowell looking left side, hits Williamson, who was wide open, in fact, but he'll be dragged out of bounds by Riche, short of the first down, it appears. But McDowell was looking for Williamson to turn around. You could see him just staring him down, saying, turn around, I want to throw it to you, but he didn't look until the last second there.
Definitely some miscommunication. It does set up a 4th down and short. This is manageable for St. Paul.
And McDowell dives forward. He lost his footing initially there, but was able to make something out of nothing, dive forward, and get the first down.
It looks like he has it. It's going to be close, though. They may measure this.
Teron Jones is saying that's a turnover. But they are going to stop the clock and they're going to take the official timeout to measure. I think it appears from here that by a nose he got it.
Yeah, it's going to be awfully close. And I tell you what, this is a big moment, because if St. Paul can get a little bit of momentum and climb back into this game with a score, it's going to make the last 9 minutes and change interesting for sure.
See, very by a nose, just very
a chain link or two.
Chain link. Very close. But a first down for the Wolves as they continue this drive, looking to, have their first full drive of this half.
Yeah, and their other score wasn't as methodical as this one.
Option pitch out to Williamson. He's met in the backfield and brought down by Jacob Morgan, but he got a gain of about 5 on the carry.
Malcolm Johnson is he's slow to get up, but I think it's just more from effort. He has put so much into this game.
Well, no, look, he's favoring a leg, but he's keeping himself in the game. 2nd and 5. 2 to the right, 2 to the left. McDowell calls for it, looking downfield, pass over the middle, picked off by Giacconi.
And he's got some space.
Right side, he's brought down over there on the far sideline by, it looks to be McDowell brought him down, but another big interception for this Skipper defense.
They read his eyes, and Giacconi did a good job of actually, stepping in front of that route. And man, I tell you what a huge play right there.
So 9:12 to go here in the 4th. And Skippers have a 21-point lead over their rival, St. Paul's. So here's that 3-headed backfield monster.
It is.
Of Teron Jones, Charles Quinn, and Darren Steele. Steele play action, looking to pass right side. Incomplete. Some face guarding there, legal this season.
Yes, it is, and I tell you what, he still almost came down with the ball.
Yeah, Roland Wallace, a talented receiver, but there the ball hit him in the hands and falls incomplete, so it'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Mandeville Skippers. Ball's at the 41-yard line. Twins to the right. Steele calling for it. He gives at the very last second to Quinn. He was reading that the whole way. Quinn coming near sideline, spins away from 2 defenders.
And I tell you what, that's all him.
Before being brought down over here by Austin Holencheck on the Mandeville sideline, and there's a flag down. It appears to be after the play.
Wow.
Impressive there, spinning away from 2 defenders. It looked like he was not going to have a gain at all, and as he was wrapped up by Wayne Galloway and spun away from the tackle.
And he just has the ability to cut on a dime. I mean, just unbelievable. And again, it's even more remarkable when you consider how many people have actually lost their footing.
Awaiting the call from the officials as they're having a conference there at the 40-yard line. Whitehat talking it over with Coach Buell. Dead ball. And it's on Mandeville. Penalties on Mandeville. That'll drop him back. Mandeville cheering section not happy about that one. So that will, let's see, the ball will be spotted at the 32. Following the penalty. So 3rd and 19 for the Skippers.
Yeah, that definitely flips the script. No way to beat around the bush there. 3rd and 19 is going to be a challenge. And the bad thing about that is Mandeville was actually set up pretty nicely to extend this drive.
Steele calling for it, reads it, handoff. He keeps it himself, saying, Tehran, block for me, and he'll be brought down at the original line of scrimmage. That'll be 4th down. But when you have that much time, as pressure isn't coming toward you, Darren has all the time in the world to just run with the running back.
And that's exactly what he's doing.
Pull at the last second or give it the last second.
He puts it on his hip, and he basically rides him to the sideline. And if he can pull it at the last second and pick up another 5 yards, man, that is tough.
It's quite a luxury to have. As a lot of times pressure can be bearing down on you, and you have to make that read like that.
And I mean, this is the Hound of Hades, the 3-headed monster, as you mentioned.
So Grosh back deep to return for the Wolves. Nicholas to punt this one away on 4th down. The snap rolls back to him, but Nicholas able to get the punt away. It's rolling through, gets a skipper bounce, and they will down the ball. Zach Bulovas will down the ball at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, I tell you what, he did an excellent job, Nicholas, fielding that snap, because it definitely took an awkward bounce. So not only did he have to field it cleanly, he got a nice punt under some pressure, and then, of course, got the roll on top of it.
So St. Paul's gets the ball with 7:38 remaining in the game. What do you think we see out of them here?
I tell you what, the biggest problem is the clock. They're going to have to look to. They're going to have to reach into their bag of tricks. I don't think it's going to be big play because Mandeville will guard against that, but they're going to have to figure out a way to find or make something happen.
Mashburn brought down in the backfield by looks to be Riche.
I mean, look. Not to say Mashburn can't break it, but the clock is definitely working against the Wolves right here.
So 7:15 remaining. They're going 2 to the right, 2 to the left, and for being down 21 points, they're not as up-tempo as I would expect them to be. But Mashburn calling for it, looking for the strike downfield, intended for Grosh, and great defense there by Nick Jones, just batting it away.
And I tell you what, there was actually 2 people playing defense there. Initially Jones is playing defense, and then, by the end of the play, Grant Grosh is actually making sure that it's not a 3rd pick on the night, or, 4th pick. No, it'd be 3rd, right? 3rd pick.
The
tonight?
3rd pick. You had Ben Bonner had the first one. Giacone had the second. So that brings up 3rd and 8 for the Wolves. Snap calls for it. Mashburn looking downfield, steps up in the pocket, launches this one, well overthrows Nick Stanton. So 4th and 9 for the Wolves.
And I tell you what, that almost looked designed to Malcolm in terms of the defense. Malcolm Johnson, he shot off the edge, and he forced, the quarterback, in this case Mashburn, up in the pocket, and it almost looked like they had, a delayed blitz, if you will, from a linebacker who basically immediately stepped up and took that away and forced the throw.
4th and 9, punt unit comes out, Mr. Clooney and company. No return man back for the Skippers. High snap, but handled well by Clooney, and he gets a high sky kick away, and that will hit off of a St. Paul's player and be downed. Let's see where they spot it, down at the 47.
Good field position for Mandeville, and they're to the point now where they're not worried about touchdowns, they're worried about first downs. If they can get some first downs and just eat up the clock, the scoreboard is on their side.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we can expect to see them running that play clock down to the bottom.
And again, when you've got the 3 guys in the backfield that they have, there's no reason to put the ball in the air. I mean, unless you're really just wanting to seal the deal and you're feeling really aggressive up 21, these guys have been phenomenal tonight.
So Steele calling for it on first down. He gives to Charles Quinn. And Quinn, he had his feet kind of swept behind the line of scrimmage, and he still moved forward for a gain of about 1.
Yeah, Gremion hit him, and he did a spin move, but it was in the air. Because Gremion took him out at the ankles and made a great play, and yes, he did. He kind of spun in the air and rolled forward, but man, there was some penetration there.
So 6:15 clock running brings up 2nd and 9. That was about a short 1-yard gain, but they're sticking with that 2-back set. Snap back, they hand off to Quinn, spinning off one defender, met by another, and dropped by Buqua and Seiden.
Yes, St. Paul did a good job of extending that, play towards the sideline. The good thing for Mandeville is it actually never reached the sideline, so we're looking at 5:45 and counting down.
3rd and 8 for the Skippers, and I was kind of wrong as they're not allowing that play clock to wind down as far as I thought they would, but a new play coming in from the sideline. Play clock at 14, so they could wind this one.
And I tell you, with these guys and only one guy up top on the far sideline, I would expect a run to that side. We talked about riding his hip. And there you go.
There it is again. Teron Jones going right side, cutting upfield, run down by Galloway, and a flag thrown from far back by the officials. Possibly a face mask?
It's about the only thing I can think of at this point, but again, you see all of that green space on the far side of the field, and you just know that when you've got those 2 guys heading to that sideline, and Steele can ride his hip, and then, of course, release it and go from there.
A block in the back called on Mandeville. So that'll move the Skippers back. It also stops the clock.
Yeah, that's doubly tough for the Skippers, and I tell you, when they get in the film room, there's always the question, did you have to make that block? So, it's one of those things, if it springs the guy, well, that's actually part of the run of the play. But if not, it's one of those where you just don't want to see your number in that situation.
3rd and 14 for the Skippers. 4:56 on the clock.
Less than 5 minutes. It should be a run.
And Steele keeps it himself. A flag is down. Seiden and company drop him for the Wolves, but a flag was thrown almost immediately after the snap.
And this usually is in the area of holding. And if it is, I would imagine St. Paul would decline.
Holding is on the Skippers. They do decline. I'll start calling you Romo.
No, please don't. Please don't. I have a lot of friends. If I become Romo, I won't be friends. I won't have any friends.
4th down as the punt unit trots on. Odin Pierce, the freshman, coming on to snap. As a former center and snapper, I like to give credit and shout out to the long snappers out there.
And I tell you what, they've done a pretty good job tonight, and the times that it wasn't on point, it's been handled well by the Skippers.
Good snap by Pierce. punted away. Great punt by Nicholas. Back to Grosh. He'll return this one, looking to take it up the middle, and he is brought down from behind by Zach Bulovas, who's played with his hair on fire all night. He's all over the field.
He has. He really has. I mean, whether it's special teams, a big defensive play here, number 41 has handled his business.
So 4:16 on the clock for St. Paul's. They have a 21-point deficit. Haven't been able to get a drive to go for most of the game, but especially not in this second half.
Yes, Mandeville has just had an excellent game plan. They've been able to follow through on it. And, you know, these seniors have really stepped up tonight.
And the run goes, brought down there by a host of skippers. That'll be a gain of about, 5 yards.
And Giacconi in there making sure again that it doesn't go any further. Yet another senior on senior night doing their job.
Mashburn and Williamson in the backfield. Mashburn, it's an option, and he pitches to Williamson
And a
left
block.
side.
Oh my gosh.
And that'll be a first down for the Wolves.
Mashburn, waited, got the pitch off, and then he immediately went to put his block in. And I tell you what, he had some speed when he hit Giacconi right there. And Giacconi was like, look, my guy's got him hemmed up behind you. But I tell you, Mashburn delivered that with some venom.
Trips to the right for St. Paul's. Mashburn, designed run, keeping it himself, has some room to run in a hole, and he's tripped up and brought down by Zach Bulovas.
Guess who? Number 41. And you know what? If he doesn't get that ankle right there, who knows where Mashburn stops. He may have found pay dirt because he had a head of steam before Bulovas got in there and got a hand on his ankle.
So it brings up 1st and 10 for the Wolves. Trips to the left. Mashburn calling for it. Rolling to his left, looking downfield, throws it, and it is batted away, but they call pass interference on Jones. He was saying he was on his back.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that's one of those where maybe Jones just isn't quite used to being in that position because he really had excellent position. So if there was anything extracurricular in terms of putting his hand on his back or whatever, it's one of those in the film room. I'm sure that Mandeville coaches will say, you didn't have to do that. You had him covered quite well.
And I'm sure that will be a lively film session tomorrow for the skippers as they watch the film, but also as they start looking forward and preparing for undefeated Covington Lions.
Yes, it sets up a big game at the Cow Palace next week, Jack Salter Stadium, so it should be quite interesting. And I tell you what, this Mandeville team, they're clicking on all cylinders at the right time of the year.
1st and 10, Mashburn looking downfield, evades pressure. He'll keep it himself going left side. He'll lay a lick before being brought down over there on the far sideline by Connor Risha.
And that was a major collision is what that was. And I tell you, he actually did a good job of escaping and eluding pressure right there, did Mashburn, because guess who was in the backfield again? Mr. Malcolm Johnson.
And so a timeout called on the field with 3:07 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Mandeville leads 28-7. 2nd down and 7 for St. Paul's. Mashburn looking to pass. It's complete to Vidal riding the sideline and pushed out of bounds over there. And a flag comes out. Giacconi over there pushing him out. But let's see what the flag is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a hit out of bounds, but it wasn't much of a hit. A great throw right there by Mashburn. He put it on the money, and Vidal was scooting down the sidelines. Face mask.
A face mask called on Mandeville. So that's 15 yards.
I was going to say, I didn't see much of a hit there at all. The face mask makes more sense.
So that'll get them pretty close. Let's see, inside the 10-yard line are the St. Paul's Wolves. 3 minutes to go here in the 4th. trips to the right, calling for it, handoff. Williamson has a hole, still barreling forward. He'll be down at the 1 yard line.
And this is you know, where St. Paul's is going to excel. They're going to get some push with their offensive line and try to find pay dirt. And I tell you, the clock is definitely working against them. 2:45 and counting down.
Quickly back to the line. Handoff goes to Williamson again, looking left side, and he will score. So a drive capped off by the Williamson 1 yard run, aided by several penalties, but St. Paul's finds the end zone here in the second half.
They definitely did, but I tell you, the clock is not their friend at this point. We're going to see an onside kick, and you know, potentially if they score, you know, quickly, a second onside kick.
Ferrante to kick out of the Ely hold, and it is good. So with 2:35 remaining in the game, Mandeville leads 28-14. All right, Jack Benaldi on to most likely attempt the onside kick here. It is, and it is recovered by Charles Quinn.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. That guy he's definitely been the man of the night.
So we'll see this Mandeville offense. It'll be clock management for the next 2 minutes and 35 seconds as they lead 28-14. They need some first downs here to keep the clock running. And you hear the chants of "I believe that we will win" from the crowd. Handoff goes Quinn, and he's stopped at the line.
Yeah, and this is where I'm sure we'll shortly see some of these timeouts being used. It looks like St. Paul's is going to let it run at this point, though.
Yeah, timeouts not being taken. Not a single timeout was taken in the first half. So new play coming in from the sideline. Darren Steele setting up the offense. They go two to the left. And
milking the clock down.
They have Malcolm Johnson in there as well as kind of a lead blocker for Charles Quinn. Quinn stiff arm on one defender before being dragged down by William Duncan and a host of other Wolves.
Yeah, and I guess St. Paul was looking to see what type of play they had right there. If they can put Mandeville in a tough spot, now they're going to burn a couple of timeouts.
So timeout called on the field with 1:46 remaining here in the game as Mandeville leads 28-14. So after the timeout, Mandeville on 3rd and 12, Steele calling for it. Handoff goes to Quinn, who quickly cuts to the right, and he'll be dropped by Gremion.
Yes, and it'll set up a 4th down, and St. Paul, I'm sure, will be quick to call a timeout here.
And yes, they do. So with 1:42 remaining here in the 4th quarter, Mandeville leads 28-14. After the timeout, Nicholas to punt this one away on 4th and 14. 1:42 on the clock. Snap is back from Odin Pierce, and a good punt away from Nicholas. Grosh fields it. He'll go to his left, looking for a seam, and he'll be dragged down over on the far sideline by Roland Wallace and Ben Bonner.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's one of those where 1:30 left. Mandeville's quite happy to put their defense out there and basically keep everything in front of them. No big plays. Try to make the tackle in bounds and put the game to bed. But St. Paul's is still in this because if they can get a quick score, that brings the onside kick back into play.
So 1:30 to go in this one. 2 to the right, 2 to the left. Mashburn calls for it, looking downfield. Pass is complete, but short of the first down and stays in bounds. Logan Davenport.
Yeah, they're going to have to set up quickly here. No timeouts left, so.
That brings up 2nd and 2 or 3 for the Wolves. Very quickly calling for it. Malcolm Johnson with pressure. Pass is batted away by Ben Bonner, intended for Cameron Vidal.
Yeah, I think that kind of caught Malcolm Johnson off guard. He's been able to get into the backfield all night long with penetration, but he's had to work like nobody's business in order to be there. He was unblocked that time, so when he went in, he kind of had to break down, to see what Mashburn was doing.
Mashburn pass complete, still on his feet. Nick Stanton, and
He's
they
down.
say that the ground
He's down.
caused that fumble, that he was down before, but he was
first down and
upended over there.
Yeah, I tell you, that's not how you want to dive out there on the field, because that looks like that's gonna hurt tomorrow, if not Sunday.
Especially at 6'4", 185. Trips to the right, calling for it. Snap was a little off target. Mashburn looking for someone to pass to. It's complete to Stanton over the middle. That'll be a first down, and they need to have a play ready for when the ball gets spotted, because the clock's going to start running.
And again, I tell you, if St. Paul can find the end zone, this is going to get interesting quick.
2 to the right, 2 to the left. Here's Mashburn on first down. Clock running, calls for it. Pass is complete, and Davenport falls to the ground.
It's going to be short, so the time is ticking.
36 seconds on the clock here. St. Paul's, no timeouts remaining.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Mashburn calls for it. Quick pass to Grant Grosh, and that goes sailing out of bounds. So that'll at least stop the clock and allow them to get a play call in. But 25 seconds remain in the game.
Yeah, and they're gonna look to get another first down, and if you're St. Paul's, you're hoping to get in the end zone and then just basically see what you can do in terms of the onside kick and maybe steal the game.
Trips to the left. Mashburn calls for it on third down. Pressure bearing down from Johnson. Lofts this one out, and it's picked off by Devin Cyber.
What a play. He read that the whole way.
And 19 seconds remaining. 3 interceptions for this Mandeville defense. They have been outstanding tonight in this rivalry matchup.
Yes, they have.
Now we'll see the victory formation out there, and how sweet it is to use the victory formation against a rival.
And then it does set up a big game next week. Looks like it's going to be, as you mentioned earlier, an undefeated Covington. They're going to go visit, who ironically were gifted the district championship tonight. Congratulations to the Lions. First district championship since 2004, if I'm not mistaken. So they are going to defeat Hammond tonight, and with Mandeville's win against St. Paul's, it looks like no matter what, they'll be the outright district champions.
And that'll be an interesting game next week at Jack Salter Stadium. As Mandeville comes in, we see they're capable of playing at a very high level. Covington plays at a very high level. That'll be a very good and interesting matchup.
And Mandeville is playing their best ball at the time of year when you need to be playing your best ball. And
absolutely.
That's a dangerous team, and if by some chance they get by the Lions next week, which is very possible,
it's looking,
boy, oh boy, would that be a horrendous opponent to have in the playoffs.
And Darren Steele kneels it down, and the Mandeville Skippers will win on senior night, defeat the St. Paul's Wolves 28-14. So let's take a second to thank those who helped bring you this game, starting with our superintendent, Mr. Trey Folse, our director of broadcasting, Dr. Melody Menard, sideline cameraman, Rhett Sharp, cameraman, editor, and coordinator of Channel 13, Dave the Rave Williams. As always, color analyst, Coach Jimmy Inman. So from Sid Terrio Stadium, where the Mandeville Skippers defeat the St. Paul's Wolves, a huge win, 28-14. My name is Grant Yenny. Good night. You are now leaving the Prep Zone.